Hi guys, today I want to do a little story time stitch along with you. Like I've said before in my previous videos, I was, that I was absent for a while from YouTube, and let me just start doing stuff and then just talk simultaneously. I don't even know if I'll be able to do this, but basically what I'm going to be stitching is this Venice kit that I have, and let's just start. Okay, so I'm stitching color number 5555. The symbol is number 5. Okay, let me find it. This is it. This is the one. Anyways, you know that I was missing from YouTube for a long time. You probably do know the reason why I was missing from YouTube, and that's because I was with the whole situation in my country. We were moved, I guess, out of our homes, evicted, and yeah, so I don't want to go into that, but my story is about me getting addicted I guess to watching K-dramas. Now you probably know what that is. Do you know what that is? K-dramas are Korean dramas, basically Korean films. Now, how can you not? I mean, the boys are so beautiful, the girls are so beautiful. There's so much romance. It's so innocent. Everything is so, easy. Even when it's difficult, when it's hard, when the storyline is difficult, it's always so innocent. And I got really into watching these K-dramas and stuff like that. Now, if you know social media, like Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, every social media knows what you're watching. They know what you're interested in. They know what the most popular thing you're viewing. So they end up giving you a lot of that content eventually, and because I was very much into TikTok that time and I was watching a lot of different videos, I ended up watching a lot of Korean content on TikTok because it was giving me what I was watching. So I was getting a lot of little clips of different films or just streamers or anything that's got to do with K-pop, everything like that. So eventually I stumbled upon a stream of a few boys and girls, a few people that ended up I ended up in a really good relationship with. We were friends. We were talking practically every night. We were sitting on streams and chatting and laughing and having, fun and becoming friends and stuff like that. And the whole family theme and groups on TikTok became really popular in some point. Now it's not as popular as it was, but it was in that time. People were getting into groups and creating like these little families. So I ended up in one of these groups, and the funny thing is they were Korean. They were Russian speaking Koreans. They were Koreans that were born in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. They were speaking Russian. So we ended up being friends, and we were spending a lot of free time together, chatting and streaming and just being friends. And after we got evicted and I moved to a city called Ariel in Israel, and we lived there for 2 weeks. But during these 2 weeks I was I wasn't working. I was just spending time with my son, my mom. We weren't really doing anything, so I was really into the whole streaming life. I kind of got away from YouTube for a while there, and I ended up spending a lot of time chatting and friending and, just being active on TikTok. Now, one day it was evening, and I decided to go for a walk with my son, and I took him out, and we went to, we went just around the neighborhood, and we found this little playground, and he was playing, and I sat down next to him on the, next to the playground, on the playground, I guess. And I was bored, so I opened my own stream, which I usually don't do. I'd never opened my own streams. I mean, sometimes I did, but mostly I joined the streams of my online friends. I didn't open my own. And that evening, I've decided to open my own stream. It was boring. I mean, because I wasn't really active in my own streams. My live stream was kind of boring because people kind of walking around, just getting in, getting out, and stuff like that. And I wasn't really, in a big company, and it wasn't feeling really to enter the stream of my friends and just sit down and chat with them because I wanted some quiet time. And after like maybe 15 minutes into that stream where I was just sitting, hanging, watching Mark, my son, play, and like kind of people coming in, saying hi. I was saying hi to him, to them, to them, mostly in Hebrew. Somebody came into my stream, and his nickname was You Rock. Now, I didn't know who that was, and the thing is that I usually I've never invited anybody to come up into my live stream, especially if I was streaming by myself. I've never called anybody up to join the live stream. If you watch TikTok, you probably watched the live streaming there, and you know that people are kind of joining live streams and getting to know each other. So that person came into my live and he started chatting with me. He just said hello, how are you doing? He kind of chatted me up, and then he said, give me a hand. Now in TikTok talk, if somebody says give me a hand, like a hand or something, reach out. Well, I don't know if in all languages it's like that, but at least in Russian there's this one thing that you say to let people know that you want to come up into their stream. So he said, give me a hand, and I was kind of, I didn't even think twice. I kind of said, okay, I'm bored. I don't even know who that is. And I ended up allowing him to enter my live stream. Where am I? I lost my place. Oh, okay. Anyways, he came up into my live stream. Camera opens, and there's this, how do I say that? There's this young man. He how funny that is, but he was Korean himself. He also spoke Russian, by the way, so he was one of the Russian speaking Koreans. And he gosh, he was handsome. TikTok has masks, and they beautify you to where you look like a model. Anybody could look like a model on TikTok. But yeah, we were all using these masks, these like face smoothers and stuff like that. And well, of course he was too, but in on TikTok, and people who knew him only from TikTok, he was so good looking. He was so good looking. He was kind of the K-drama style good looking. Anyways, his name was Yuri. Now, when he came up into my stream, I didn't really think that, I wasn't looking for getting to know somebody that way, but I looked at him and I thought that, oh my gosh. Anyways, we started talking, just asking each other where we were from and stuff like that. I mean, it's not a dating site, but it's kind of a friend finding site sometimes, because you find people that you end up friends with. And he stayed with me on stream for maybe a few hours after that. Now, we were chatting, we were kind of laughing, we were getting to know each other. I had no idea how he found me, because apparently we were subscribed to each other. And by the way, I remembered why I was subscribed to him. Quite a while into our so-called friendship. Now, yeah, so we were chatting, we were like having friendly conversations, laughing and stuff. He was kind of spending his evening with me, and I ended up going back. We headed back to the place we were living in, and we got lost. Now, it was the first time that I got lost with him online. So we got lost, we were like walking God knows where, and he was kind of helping me not get panicky. So he was kind of laughing with me and saying, try to go that way, try to remember which way you came from. And he was really nice and really funny, and it was so fun. I was just laughing my ass off. So yeah, and that way eventually I found my way home, and he spent like many funny minutes on that life with me. Now, after I came back from that little trip of mine, he actually asked me if I wanted to keep being friends on TikTok, and he said that he will send me a message. Now, that time we ended our live, and I didn't even think that he will actually send me a message, but he did. He sent me a message. Am I even recording? Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. I kind of got distracted. I thought that I wasn't even recording. Talking all this time without recording will be really annoying to me. Anyways, I didn't think that he will actually send me a message or anything, so I kind of I didn't forget about it, because I actually really liked him. He was so cute. Yeah, so I went back home, and I found a message from him in my mailbox, in that TikTok mailbox, and he wrote that he really enjoyed chatting with me and he wanted to keep chatting with me. So we were going like messaging back and forth for a couple of hours after that stream, and we exchanged our WhatsApp, and we ended up chatting on WhatsApp a lot, just going back and forth a lot, all the time, and it was really interesting. And at that point, I didn't open my own streams, but I asked him if he wanted to come meet my friends, my online friends, and I and he said okay. I mean, he was kind of shy because he had his own company, but he said that he will come just because I called him, but he wanted to follow me, and he will come. So I said, okay, so next time, tomorrow night, we will be streaming with my friends, and I will send you invite, and hopefully you will come and say hi and get to know everybody, and maybe you will find some new friends. And eventually, the next day, he joined our stream with my online friends. He joined us in in a live stream. Everybody was excited. They were laughing and joking, and they accepted him pretty well. It was kind of quiet, but they were happy because it seemed like it felt like I invited a boyfriend into my friend group. It was kind of weird. But eventually he sent me a message in private during the live stream, and we ended up going out of the live stream that we were in with my friends, and we opened our own live stream by ourselves, and we were sitting there without anybody and just chatting and having conversations. Now that didn't stop. We were in contact every single day, all the time, all day. We were chatting, like writing back and forth. We were online all the time. And especially that I was free all the time, I could be online like 24/7. I know, like, Mark didn't really need anything special. He was still small, so I was kind of with him, and I was with the TikTok. So yeah, and I ended up kind of stepping away from my friend group eventually, and I entered his, and I found some, I couldn't call them new friends because they weren't really my friends. I was there just because of him, and he felt much more comfortable there. He was really popular with the girls. I mean, there was one girl that was really kind of gooing him and like laughing with him, and I was getting really jealous. And I actually told them eventually that I was jealous when she was doing that, when we started having our when our friendship became a little deeper than what it was. But yeah, so we were spending a lot of time with his buddies, with his where's my thread? Oh, there it is. With his side of TikTok. And as time went by, and a lot of time went by, we were getting closer and closer, and we were spending more time alone without anybody. We were opening our own private streams, and we were just sitting, chatting and laughing, and eventually flirting. And they were like private streams, and people that knew us, they could actually see us online, but they knew that we were there together, so they didn't really they tried not to interrupt, I guess. And eventually these conversations, these little private streams, ended up pulling us away from TikTok, and we ended up going to, I guess, converse on our phones. I mean, we took a step away from TikTok. We still joined friend groups because they were calling us and stuff, but we kind of stepped away and became kind of more private. I stepped away from everything, from my friends, from them. They were actually laughing that I found a handsome Korean guy and walked away, but that wasn't funny. That wasn't the reason why we kind of got closer. Now, after a while, we ended up with, first I was kind of self-conscious and I didn't want to video chat with him on phone because I was so used to the masks on TikTok, and they really changed everything. They changed your face, they changed everything. And when you like talk on the video call on your phone, you look different. But eventually I caved in and we started video chatting on this app called what is it called? Mia? I don't remember. Anyways, on Telegram, on WhatsApp, and on Mio, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember that application, but it's a video call application. And we ended up video calling. Well, I can't even say like for hours because it was practically 24/7. We were online 24/7. We were well, maybe not 24/7 at that point. We were kind of online all the time. We were kind of knowing what each other was doing. We were talking all the time, sending voice messages, video calling, just spending a lot of time. I don't know if you can say together because we weren't physically together, but yeah, so we were spending a lot of time with each other from a distance, and we were getting closer and closer, and it was kind of feeling like we were having some sort of a, I don't know, maybe a weird online relationship. It kind of developed into this weird online relationship. I don't mean weird in a bad way. I mean it was kind of unexpected, and I didn't really know what to do with that. And eventually we moved out of that place we were living in for a couple of weeks, and we moved into a hotel for a couple of months in Jerusalem. And there everything got much more intense. We were online with him and his sister and some friend, like almost 24/7 all the time. Well, maybe not 24/7 again at that point, but from the moment we were waking up till the moment we were going to sleep, and I was going to sleep really, really, really late. I was putting Mark to bed. My mom was going to bed with him. Well, of course, we were all in the same room, hotel room, and I was going out from 10 o'clock till I could spend like till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. And we were online with him or with our, couple of online friends and stuff like that. We were kind of having a laugh and stuff. Eventually, in some point, things started to get pretty, I don't know how to say it. They were starting to get kind of weird because he, from that happy, he was online on TikTok when we were with our friends, friends, you can call them. He was like this happy-go-lucky guy. He was smiling all the time. He was so fun. He was so goofy. He was like fun. But in some point, he started to be a little, I don't know how to say it, but like depressed. He was getting quiet. He wasn't really talking much. There were moments where he was kind of waking up and being like cute and happy again, and then there were moments where he was kind of pulling into himself. I don't know how to exactly explain that, but his behavior was getting a little weird. And in some point I started to notice that it seemed like he was experiencing some kind of depression. I don't know why what brought that, but he was experiencing some weird moments where he was kind of chatting with you, talking, laughing, and then all of a sudden he was kind of getting quiet and he was not talking. And no matter what I would ask, say, do, he was not responding, and he was kind of just laying down in bed, and his eyes were getting glossy. And no, he wasn't doing any drugs or alcohol or anything. He was just kind of closing up, and I realized that he probably suffers from depression, a really hard depression. Something was going on with him. It wasn't that happy guy that I knew when we were kind of starting off. When I think that maybe when he started feeling more comfortable with me, and I ended up being like the closest thing to him, because he was kind of, he spent all of his time with me. No, I was the one pulling him out of it. I know it sounds stupid, but when I was seeing him that way, when he was starting to go into himself, I was trying to make him laugh. I was trying to make him talk. In the beginning, I was talking him into getting up and going, washing his face and doing something, and just doing something that will distract him from that feeling, because he was kind of, something was really wrong with him. In some point, he was starting to disconnect. I mean, he was kind of happy, and then all of a sudden he was like that. Like I told you, he was kind of glassy-eyed. I don't know how to explain that. And then eventually, when I was trying to get him up, he just disconnected the call, and then he came back only the next evening. I mean, he would come up the next evening and say that he was sorry, he wasn't feeling good and stuff like that. So that was happening, and yeah, we were fighting it. It looked like he was fighting it too. And in that point, I felt like I had to help him, because there were already feelings involved. We were spending so much time together, there were feelings involved. And he, eventually we ended up, what's with my computer? We ended up spending so much time online together that we ended up sleeping with our cameras on. And when we started doing that, we never stopped. So as long as we were in contact, and that was for like a year and a couple of months, we were online on video call. I mean, it felt sometimes like we were living together online. And yeah, he was going through some hard times. The problem with him is that he was denied visa because he lived for 10 years in North Korea, and in last year he was there illegally because his visa expired, and he was deported. Well, in a way deported. I don't want to go into that, but he was denied a visa for 2 years, and he didn't want to go to work where he lived in Uzbekistan, in Tashkent. He didn't want to go to work there because they didn't pay enough, and he had enough money, and he didn't have to pay for his apartment because he had an apartment there. So he didn't need a lot of money, but he didn't want to work. So basically he was spending 24/7 at home alone. And I think that what brought him his depression on him, that the fact that he was alone so long by himself in that apartment, it was driving him crazy. And yeah, eventually, in some point, we came back home from that hotel. We ended up going home, and about 2 months after we came back home, we ended our video call. I just felt like he was disconnecting too often, and if I wouldn't called, he wouldn't have called. If I would call, he would be there. I mean, it was like he wasn't giving that initiative anymore. And we were already telling each other about our feelings. We were already saying about love and everything, and it was kind of weird. His behavior was weird. So eventually we disconnected the call, and I decided not to call back. Honestly, I thought that he would call back, but he didn't call either. And in that point, we didn't speak for almost 3 months. During those 3 months, I was really sad because I was so we were having plans of meeting physically, about him coming to Israel. That was our plan all along. And about me coming to visit him, about our future, that we wanted to be together. Like, we were actually having a relationship in that point. And then we disconnected. And during that time, we didn't talk. Like I said, I was having a very difficult time. And a couple of times, no, once or twice, I got a message from him saying hi, like a weird message, and but that didn't grow into any conversations. And I was talking to his sister at that point. I was actually in good contact with his sister, and I told her about his problem. I know that maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I wanted her to help him. I wanted her to they were close, so I wanted her to get involved and help him get out of that depression, because I was afraid that eventually he'll do something to hurt himself. And she said, she kind of was giving me info once in a while, and she said that, well, basically she helped him get himself in line. And he after 3 months, let's just jump into that. After 3 months, he wrote to me, and he just said my name. He said, Irene. I was like, yeah. And he said, I really miss you. And I said, I missed you too. And we ended up calling each other again. We just jumped right back on that wagon, and we ended up video calling again. And yeah, so we kind of reunited, and we ignited that fire again, even more than it was before, because we were really intimate with each other. We were really having a relationship now. He changed. He got back to his old self. He was happier. He was eating well. He was going out. He was doing sports. He was, just meeting with friends, which made me really happy for him, because that made him happy. That gave him a reason for life. He was a different person. And in that point, he was happy. He was different. And we started it again. Now, it was fun. It was really fun. It was great. I felt so happy. We were starting our planning again, our plans. And because he couldn't get to me, I ended up buying a plane ticket to him. And in December, I think it was December. I think it was in December. I flew to Tashkent to see him. Now we were so excited. We were planning that moment, how it will be like, how the moment we will meet will be, what we will say or do, or should we. It was so funny because we were actually talking about what will we do in that moment. Will we hug, or will we kiss, or will we be shy of each other, or will we cry? I don't even know. It was so exciting. And yeah, so eventually it happened. I got on a plane and I flew to him. Of course, not for too long because I couldn't leave Mark for long. If I could have, I would have stayed there for longer. But I flew for only 10 days, and that was the funnest 10 days I think I've ever had. When he met me in the airport, he brought me flowers, and in reality, people look different. He looked different, of course, but he was still so handsome to me. He was like a little movie star. Maybe because I already had feelings for him, that was why I was thinking that. But yeah, so we met and we hugged. That hug was so amazing. And we didn't kiss because it was kind of, we kissed on the cheek. And we went to his home. I mean, I was thinking at first that I was going to rent a hotel because I wasn't feeling comfortable staying in his house. But he said that he will make it comfortable, and don't pressure anything. So yeah, so I ended up going to his house and I stayed 10 days in his home. You guys, these were the best 10 days I've ever had. It was so fun. We were having fun. We were going out. We were going out almost every day. We were even if it was just for a walk. It was cold, but it was such a good cold. We were cooking together. We were ordering different foods because he wanted me to try different foods, and we were spending a lot of time together. We were having so much fun. We were planning. We were I don't even know how to say this, but it was so good. Now honestly, I kind of felt like it was it. I mean, weird. I was watching too much K-dramas, I was under that dreamy thought that it will be like that. And we actually were talking about getting married. He was actually talking about it, not me. Because his brother, well, kind of his cousin, but he's like a brother to him. He also was with us for the last couple of days, and he actually was also interested on how are we going to do that, because we were talking about getting married. Though in the back of my mind, I didn't want to. I don't think I want to get married again. At least not anytime soon. But I didn't really want to get married, but I wanted to be with him, and I was having like this fantasy relationship with him. Well, not fantasy, that in that point it was reality already. We already were close enough. And yeah, so eventually I ended up going back home. There was this fear that once I go back home, he will not want to keep in touch with me. You know why? Because when we met, the first time when I was imagining that, it was like a first date to me. And a first date is always kind of, you probably, there's a possibility that you're not going to like each other, So who knows? Maybe once we would have met in reality, we wouldn't even like each other. So we kind of won't want to keep that relationship going after I went back home. But no, we kept it going. We stayed in touch. We were online all the time. We were sleeping together. Oh, sleeping together, I mean like online on a phone call. We were always, when we were disconnecting, it was kind of, whoa, what did you just do? But yeah, it was that way. And he was still fun, and there were a lot of things that I wasn't noticing. The fact that he wasn't working, the fact that he was spending 95% of his time at home. Again, he was going back to his old self, basically. But I wasn't noticing that anymore because I was into him. And after a while, things started happening again. He was starting to get quiet again. He was starting to, we were online on a phone call and we could just not talk at all. We just didn't talk. We could have sat there for hours, like for the whole night, and not say a word. Just kind of send each other kisses and smiles and a word here and there. But it wasn't kind of like it was like a flowy conversation or anything. And to me, it felt like he was going back to his old self. And eventually he did. He started going back into himself again. He was getting quieter. He got a computer from his friend that left to Korea, and he got his computer. And apparently he was addicted to computer gaming. And I found out that he had the problem before. I found out from his sister. She told me that he used to have a problem with computer gaming, and it was like a drug to him. So he ended up getting that computer, like I said, and he was playing games 24/7. He wasn't even sleeping. He was kind of going to rest a little bit, then he would wake up and he was still playing. I would go to sleep. I would wake up in the morning. He was sitting down to play. He wasn't even sleeping. When I would go to work, he was kind of saying that, yeah, I'm going to rest. He would put his head down, rest for a couple of, I don't even know if it was a couple of hours, but for a little bit, and then go back to playing. He was playing all the time. And our plans were still on. We were still planning on him to come in to Israel. Now, there's a big problem about getting visa from where he lives to my country, because they are closed for their citizens to go out of the country. They need a lot of paperwork, a lot of permissions, and that was really hard work. And the thing is that they told us that if I'll make an invite for him to come in, to visit, it will help. And I went, and I have requested to make an invite for him to come to Israel as a tourist to visit me. But they needed proof that we knew each other, and the only proof that we had is that we were a couple, that we were together, and we had pictures together already at that point, and we were together in a relationship, and I was inviting him as my boyfriend to visit. Now, he was asking for a visa for a tourist. That meant that he could stay here in my country for 3 months max, and then he had to go back. And that's what we were planning on doing. He was going to come stay for 3 months or so and then leave, unless we want to him to stay here if he would like that, and you know, to ask for a change of visa. But I got denied. I mean, we got denied. They denied our invite because apparently, because I'm inviting him as a boyfriend, as a partner, as I was told, like, it might happen when I was asking for that when I was there. She told me that they might deny you because he's your boyfriend and you're inviting him as a couple, as your couple, and as your partner or something like that. And they probably will deny because they don't want the chance that he will try to stay here illegally. And that happened actually. We got denied, and he we were told that if I wanted to invite him, and him being my boyfriend or partner or anything like that, I needed to invite him as my spouse. Not married spouse. How do you say that? As a boyfriend, as a couple, as a, as somebody in a relationship with me. And the thing is, there's this weird loop about this. If I invite a couple, not a couple, can I even say that? If I invite a partner, a life partner, a boyfriend, a husband, or whatever, we need to get married, because otherwise he's not really my partner. So from one side, I can't invite him because he's my boyfriend, and from the other side, I can't invite him because he's my boyfriend. And we need to be married for him to be considered my, love interest. So it kind of threw us off. And yeah, so basically that's about it. I was having a really hard time. It was actually 2 months ago, almost. And we ended up eventually disconnecting again. First of all, him being back to his old self, in that depression again, in that state of just being quiet. He was quiet all the time. He wasn't speaking. He was just playing his game and just smiling to me every once in a while. But still, on the other hand, he wasn't disconnecting. He was still online. I mean, I thought that maybe he wasn't disinterested anymore, but that was not it, because he was the one who was connecting to me all the time. It's like he was, like I was that part of his life. Nobody was there. It was just me and him. It was just me and him. And I noticed that he was getting jealous of Mark when we reconnected the second time. The first time, I mean. He actually admitted to me that in some points he was feeling jealous because I was spending more time with Mark and I wasn't paying enough attention to him. That was a red flag, because being jealous of a child is crazy. I mean, my son is always first place to me. I wouldn't have chosen anyone before my child. So he said that, and I think that it started to get that way again, because the last time we spoke, not that we spoke, but that we connected online, was a night where everything was good. We were kind of not talking like always, just spending time online together, sitting down. He was playing his computer, I was stitching, kind of saying a word or two to each other every once in a while. And then Mark was in bed with me, and we were chatting and laughing, and I kind of turned away from him, And I noticed on his face, he wasn't very happy. He was kind of getting a little. I could already tell after all that time that when his facial expressions were a certain way, I already knew that something was wrong. So I've seen that he was kind of getting jealous. I think that I was turning away from him to be with Mark. And the next morning, I woke up and I disconnected the call. He was still sitting there. He was quiet. He wasn't really talking. He was playing a game. And I said, I'm going to work. And I disconnected. And you guys, that was the last time we connected online. It was the weirdest. But honestly, I was ready for that. I was the one who didn't connect back. I thought for a while before I disconnected from him, I had that feeling that I wanted to do that, but it was so hard for me to do because I was so used to having them there. I was so used that he was online all the time. It's like we were living together, and ending it was, I was just feeling so bad and so lonely, like I was betraying him. And on the other hand, I was feeling like I wanted it to end because he was making my life heavier at this point. I mean, I wanted him to be there, but on the other side, I wanted him to be not there because without him, I felt easier. I didn't feel the pressure of, thinking of what he would think if I would spend time with Mark, if he will get insulted, if he will get jealous, if he will be sad, if I will have to bring him back again. I felt like it was getting too heavy for me. And I just made myself not reconnect. And like was expected, he didn't connect back as well. Now, I decided that was it. I mean, what was the chance of us reuniting? I could not go there all the time. First of all, it's expensive. Second of all, I have a child. I cannot travel there all the time. And he cannot come to me because he's denied a visa. And for him to make visa, it's a lot of paperwork, a lot of work that he had to do. And basically, he already collected all the paperwork. But he didn't do anything with that. He was waiting for me to do something. So, so I decided there was a very slim chance for us being together, living together in the same country, unless he starts moving and, fighting for it. But I knew that he wasn't going to do that. He was not that person. And so until today, I'm thinking about that a lot. I miss him a lot, to be honest with you. I really feel like there's this big part of my life for the last year plus months that is missing. And honestly, I actually have the urge of saying hi to him again, but I'm not going to do that because I know that we can just keep it going for another year and nothing will come out of it. So why torment yourself? Reality is like, it's not K-drama. It's never this romantic, innocent fantasy. It's nice to watch, but it's not real life. The men in those movies are not real. Girls, they're not real. Korean boys are the same as any other men. They're people, but the characters they play in those series are so far-fetched and they're so unrealistic that some girls are really getting into that fantasy of the perfect guy. It doesn't exist. And I was living that fantasy for more than a year, and then I came to my senses. And right now it's still hard, like a couple months after we stopped connecting. It's still hard because I really miss that. I miss that part of my life where I can just right now open my Discord or open my WhatsApp and call him and just see his face. And after seeing and feeling and touching and everything, it's real. It was real. It was a real relationship. But yeah, I guess that fantasy is over, and I'm not going to go back to it. As much as I would have wanted it to happen, I know that it couldn't have. It was too difficult. There are couples that are uniting, like from long distance relationships, even from the time where we were online with our TikTok online live stream friends, I guess. There were a couple of couples that actually united and became real couples in reality, but the men there were different. None of them knew Yuri like I did. They never knew his depression. They never knew his addiction to gaming. They didn't know anything about him. They thought that he was this perfect, handsome fairy tale guy, but he wasn't. But it was fun. It was romantic in some points. It was hot in some points. It was interesting experience, and I guess I'm thankful for having that experience. Now, a couple of days ago, I've watched a movie called A Man and a Woman. It's a Korean film about a couple that's in this relationship. Both of them are married, apparently, and it's a really, really sad movie. And actually, if you want to cry a little bit, I recommend for you to watch it, even though it's a Korean movie. And if you don't like foreign films, it's okay, but I recommend for you to watch it. The ending is crazy. It made me so sad. I actually cried. It was the first time I cried over this after quite a few months. And it made me so sad. And I actually was texting my girlfriend from work, and she was kind of mad at me, trying to get me off that. She's trying to stop me from watching these series because they remind me of stuff. But yeah, actually the main actor, his name is I'm really bad in Korean names. His name is Gong Yoo, I think. Gong Yoo. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And the thing about him, he's not one of those sweet K-drama boys. He's 45 years old. He is really good looking, and he reminds me of Yuri for like 90%. First of all, in some ways, he looks like him a little bit. Second of all, his mannerisms? Well, the way he moves, the way he, I don't know, something about his movements, his behavior is really reminding me of him, and that's kind of making me crazy. But yeah, he looks like a lot like him. Now, I recommend for you to watch that movie if you want to have some romance, tragedy feeling of wanting to cry a little bit. It's a good movie. It's really, really intense. That it has quite a few sensual scenes, which is kind of unusual, I guess, for Korean cinema, because they don't usually show a lot of sensual. Yes, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. They don't usually show a lot of those moments in their films. So yeah, but yeah. So I recommend. And that's about it. That's my story time of how I ended up falling in love with an online boyfriend, that ended up being one in reality as well for 10 days, and the one that I left behind. And hopefully we'll never come back to that place again, because, well, like I said, I don't see a point of hurting over somebody who's so far away and who cannot even be there for you when you need them. Okay, yeah, so I'm not gonna cry. Anyways, with all the love I have for him, for you guys, for everybody I know, I'll say bye. I think it's about it. There's a lot of details in that story that I left out, but I don't think they are so relevant. I don't think that, it's going to be interesting for you. I kind of went through it pretty fast, as fast as I could, because kind of, I didn't know exactly how to tell that story, because I didn't have any storyline built before. I kind of decided to just film and talk as much as I will want to talk. So yeah, anyways, thank you for watching. I hope that I didn't bore you too much with my story time here, and I hope that you enjoyed my story time. Please tell me what you think about the situation. Do you think it was a bad idea to go into that altogether, or do you think that maybe it was a good experience? At least I was abroad. What do you think about this situation? Would you do something like that? Would you go to another country to see somebody who is so deep in your heart? Would you do that? Anyways, press thumbs up, subscribe, and press the button with the little bell down below to be notified when my next video comes out. Join my TikTok channel, it's down in the description box, and of course I'll come back to you in the next video. I'll follow my little shorts.